The Imperial Palace of Dravix Prime had survived 3 galactic wars, 2 attempted coups, and countless diplomatic incidents. Yet nothing had quite prepared the royal staff for the ongoing crisis of the escaping cubs. Queen Sarathil of the Dravix Empire stood in the security center, her forearms crossed in a gesture that made even the bravest warriors tremble. On the holographic display before her, 2 small forms could be seen curled against a human in maintenance coveralls, fast asleep in a supply closet on the 3rd sublevel. Again, she hissed, her scaled crest flaring violet with frustration. Head of security. Mia stepped forward, her dark skin gleaming under the harsh lights of the command center. She'd been hired 6 months ago specifically because humans had a reputation for solving impossible problems. So far, the only thing she'd solved was how to get stress headaches in zero gravity. Your Majesty, we've increased patrols, installed motion sensors, and even placed energy barriers on the nursery doors, Mia reported, pulling up data on her tablet. Somehow your offspring continue to bypass every security measure we implement. They are 3 months old, the Queen said flatly. They can barely walk, yes, Your Majesty, and yet... On screen, the human janitor, Ken, according to his personnel file, shifted slightly in his sleep. The 2 Dravix cubs, each about the size of a human toddler but covered in iridescent scales, made small chirping sounds and burrowed deeper against his chest. His arms instinctively curled around them even in sleep. This was the 7th time this week. The first incident had caused a palace-wide lockdown. The royal cubs, heirs to an empire spanning 47 star systems, had vanished from the most secure nursery in the quadrant. 300 guards had torn through the palace in a panic, certain that assassins had struck at the heart of the dynasty. They'd found the cubs 2 hours later, nestled in Ken's lap while he ate his lunch in the janitorial break room. He'd been just as surprised as everyone else. The second time, they'd assumed he was somehow complicit. Ken had been interrogated for 6 hours by Mia herself. The man was clean, almost annoyingly so. No criminal record, no suspicious contacts, not even a parking violation. He'd been working at the palace for 3 years, cleaning floors and fixing broken fixtures with the quiet efficiency that made humans such reliable support staff throughout the galaxy. I don't know how they keep finding me, Ken had insisted, his brown eyes wide with genuine confusion. I'll be working and suddenly there they are. I can't just leave them, can I? The 3rd time, they'd placed guards specifically to watch Ken. The cubs had escaped anyway, somehow managing to crawl through ventilation shafts that should have been too small for them, bypassing 3 security checkpoints, and still ending up in whatever closet or corridor where Ken happened to be working. By the 5th incident, the palace xenobiologist had been called in, Dr. Raxith, a Methodian with 17 eyes and a reputation for solving biological mysteries, had spent 2 days studying the cubs and their interactions with the human janitor. Her conclusion had been unexpected. The cubs have imprinted, Dr. Raxith had explained to a horrified Queen. It's rare, but occasionally Dravix young will bond with a non-parent who they perceive as a source of safety and comfort. But why him? The Queen had gestured at Ken, who stood awkwardly in his cleaning uniform, a mop still in his hand. Human body temperature runs several degrees warmer than Dravix, the doctor had explained. Humans also produce a distinctive electromagnetic field that many species find soothing. The cubs are drawn to it like a heat lamp. More specifically, they're drawn to his field. Now standing in the security center, Mia watched as a team of guards approached the sleeping trio. On screen, Ken woke as the guards entered the closet. He looked down at the cubs in his arms with an expression of weary resignation. Sorry, he mumbled, carefully extracting himself from the sleeping cubs. I was just taking a break. They showed up about 20 minutes ago. The senior guard, a massive Krovenian named Thux, carefully lifted the cubs. They immediately began to wail, small claws reaching back toward Ken. Queen Sarathil made a sound in the back of her throat that might have been distress. Mia had learned to read the Dravix ruler over the past months. Beneath the imperial authority and the fearsome appearance, there was a mother watching her children cry. Your Majesty, Mia said carefully, perhaps we're approaching this wrong. The Queen's eyes, all 6 of them, fixed on her. Explain. We've been treating this as a security breach, but what if we treated it as a personnel assignment? 20 minutes later, Ken found himself standing in the throne room, still in his janitor's uniform, facing an empress who could have him executed with a gesture. "Kenneth Takahashi," Queen Sarathil said formally. "You are hereby appointed junior caretaker to the royal household." Ken blinked. "I what?" Mia stepped forward, holding a data pad. "You'll maintain your janitorial duties, but you'll also be assigned to the royal nursery for 4 hours each day. You'll assist the primary caretakers and, more importantly, be available to the cubs when they need you. But I don't know anything about taking care of—" "The cubs have decided otherwise," the queen interrupted. Her crest softened from violet to a warm amber. "And while I rule an empire, I have learned that there are some forces even an empress cannot command. My children have chosen you, Kenneth Takahashi. The question is, do you accept?" Ken looked at Mia, who gave him an encouraging nod. He thought about the cubs, the way they chirped contentedly when they found him, the trust in their young eyes, the weight of them sleeping peacefully in his arms. "Yeah," he said quietly. "I accept." The escapes didn't stop entirely. Even with Ken assigned to the nursery, the cubs would occasionally slip away, always seeking him out during his rounds. But now, instead of triggering palace-wide alerts, the nursery staff would simply check Ken's schedule and send someone to collect the cubs from wherever he was working. 3 months later, Mia stood beside Ken in the nursery, watching him bottle feed one cub while the other climbed over his shoulders like a scaly parrot. "You know the diplomatic corps is going insane over this, right?" she said, smiling. "The heirs to the Dravix Empire bonded to a human janitor. It's unprecedented." Ken adjusted the bottle and the cub chirped happily. "I just clean floors and hang out with kids. I don't know why everyone makes such a big deal about it." Mia laughed. "That's exactly why, Ken, that's exactly why." In the corner of the nursery, Queen Sarathil watched through the observation window, her crest glowing a contented gold. Her cubs were safe, happy, and loved, not just by their mother and their species, but by a human who had never sought glory or recognition. Humanity, she reflected, was full of surprises. Perhaps that was why they had become so indispensable to the galaxy.